What's going on, everyone? We're going to do some technical analysis on Tesla. Welcome back. I hope you guys all had a fantastic new year. We're just going to deep dive into a ton of names today, kind of go over what exactly happened in the market, what we can exactly expect heading into the end of this week, and how we can potentially find some areas and some opportunities so we can be able to make some money on some trades here. Tesla got absolutely destroyed today, down 15 points, 12.5% on the day. Now, we did close at $108.10, pretty much just around that level in the after hours. Now, we came down to a low of 104.64, and that started to get really, really scary, right? But I would say that, let's say, for example, we were down 3 or 4 points and we were right around that 104 level. I would have been a lot more concerned about, the potential drop that we could have seen. But being that we were already over, or very stretched out, 10, 11, 12, 13 points, even though Tesla can kind of run and run and run, you can't really expect a, 20, 30, 40 point decline on Tesla like we could before, prior to split. But even with that kind of being said and taken into context, what we need to look at here is the past 3 days on Tesla. We had a little bit of a gap up starting from the 28th into the 29th here. So we had that gap up over the 5-day moving average here and in a tight little band here. So what I was kind of looking at here, well, you can see this declining 10-day moving average. This price of around 124.50 was looking very, very nice for a potential long here. And the reason why is that would kind of clear out this supply here and then start to take us back up to the next area of supply, which is going to be 141.58 in that 20-day moving average. This is still a potential long setup here. So if you do trade Tesla, a level that you're going to need to watch is going to be getting back over that 10-day moving average. 124.75, somewhere in that vicinity, is definitely an area where I am going to take a day trade to the long side. Now, you can just kind of see exactly where we closed. Significant red candle that we had today, and let me just kind of zoom over a little bit here. So very significant red candle. Now, we did close below the 5-day moving average, and if you kind of look at this wick here, did close below this whole channel from the 27th and the 28th. And if you can kind of see where the candle closed at, it closed exactly at that 1228 bottom wick here. So our initial wick initially took this level out, and then we kind of got bought back up a little bit, just about 3 or 4 points, and closed exactly where that bottom wick from the 28th was at. So if we're looking for any type of continued downward pressure, our next demand zone is going to be this lower Bollinger Band here, and it's going to be sitting at around $97. Now, just because we have that demand zone down there doesn't mean that, we're just going to go all the way down there in a 1 day or 1 week. We could see a little bit of a dead cat bounce in between now and then. I think the clear line in the sand that you guys all need to pay attention to is going to be today's lows, 104.50. If we start to break below 104.50, this is where I'm going to take my opportunity at a short position, keeping in mind that I know that we potentially can get down to that 97. So I'm going to try to kind of hold this trade as long as I can. Now, if it only gives me an opportunity for a quick scalp where I just make 20, 30, 40% and try to scale out my contracts, and then we have some sort of aggressive intraday back test or dead cat bounce, I'm going to have to get out of that position and kind of lock in those profits. But the main thing that I'm going to be looking for is today's low. If I just kind of go over to the weekly time frame and kind of see what we're looking at from the big chart here on the weekly time frame, you can see here, getting extended from the 5-day moving average on the weekly time frame here. This is starting to get bought back up. Now, in order for us to get extremely bullish from a swing trading kind of outlook or from a weekly perspective, we're going to need to get back over around $119, kind of take out this week's highs and then kind of make that push back up towards that 130, 138 level into that weekly 5-day moving average. Now, if we just kind of quickly zoom across to the left here, today's lows is going to come all the way back to this little bit of backtest and distribution for about 5 weeks, going all the way back to 2020 in between the months of July and September area. These few weeks that we had in here, acted as some support here, bouncing in between and off the 5 and the 10 on the weekly time frame before we had that big nice run up. Now we did have a lot of consolidation here between the months of around August, October, November, and if we kind of look at that, those 3 months here, a lot of back and forth, range bound trading, top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range, before we finally got above that breakout over that 167, ultimately get to a price point of around 1450. But it was last week and the week before where I thought that this area was going to hold. This initial distribution where we had a lot of support here, a lot of resistance. I thought that this prior resistance was going to now act as support. Now it still could if we start to bounce. So if we finish this week, go into next week, and we start to bounce and we can get back up into the mid 120s or the 130s even, I would like to see us in the mid to high 130s. If we can kind of reclaim that within the next 1 to 2 weeks, then I will say that this area here that was acting as some troublesome spots for about 2 to 3 months is going to try to firm up and act as some supports. Now if we do get some sort of initial back test, and let's say we do, this weekly moving average is going to continue to decline right now, currently sitting at 136, but if we do get a back test into this 5 on SMA here on the weekly time frame, and we start to chop around and we get rejected, anything below today's low here, right, this 104 area, it's got a lot of room down. So on the weekly time frame, it's that 95, which I've already spoken about, and then we can kind of look to that next little bit of support, that little gap up that we had going all the way back to 629 of 2020, and that price is sitting at around the low 80s. Now, again, by no stretch of the means am I saying that Tesla's going to come down to the mid 80s or even, the mid 90s, but it's something that we have to kind of keep in mind, right? You always kind of have to know potentially where we could be heading from a bigger macro picture. Regardless if you're a swing trader or you're an investor or you're a scalper or you're a day trader, you can be thinking to yourself, well, I like to scalp the 2-minute or the 5-minute intraday chart. What is telling me about next major macro demand zone at around $80 have anything to do when I'm just looking for a quick buck here or there, and you're right to an extent, but you always have to kind of know potentially where could this stock be going, potentially where could they be taking Tesla, potentially what is the level that they need to get down to before we have some sort of significant bounce from that area. Now, we can get a reversal here. We did start to get bought back up at the end of the day. This weekly candle here can turn into a nice big green hammer candle. Now, if that's the case between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this starts to reverse and we start to get a dead cat bounce, and this turns into a huge green hammer candle, I am bullish going into next week with that price target of around 136.74. I hope that makes sense. I hope this video brought a little bit of clarity. If you guys want some more information on how you guys can trade technical analysis on a day in and day out basis, especially if you guys are options traders, definitely join the Discord. That link is down in the description box below. If you guys want to learn the way that I trade, visit evolutiontraders.com. That's my website. You guys can find all of the information there. Become a lifetime member. And I will see you guys all in the next video.